I took the fuel tap and the filter out of the fuel tank today, and it's in a bit of a mess. I've been on the forum asking about cleaning this, and I was advised to use carb cleaner and then put it in a solution of vinegar and salt, so I'll give that a go. It is actually well, it's not actually blocked as such, because I can blow through there. This was also stuck, but I've managed to just free that up, and that does seem to be working. I can blow through there when it's open, and when I close it I can't blow through, so that seems to be working, and that's not totally blocked. I really don't know what that is in there. I have no idea. Don't know if that's supposed to be in there or not, but we'll give it a go then with some carb cleaner and then stick it in a solution. There's a lot of rubbish coming out of that. Probably should have done that over a pot, shouldn't I? Yeah, that has cleaned up a lot actually. Much better than I thought. I'll get a bit more of that. In fact, I'll clean the whole body, I think. I found a couple of holes in the fuel tank which I need to sort out as well. I'm going to have a go at soldering that tomorrow. I've not done that before. I've soldered pipes and whatever and electrical circuits, but not tried soldering a fuel tank. So we'll give that a go. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that. This needs a bit of a scrape really. Let me get a screwdriver. The fuel tank has been soldered previously, not particularly nicely or well done I would say, but when I hold it up to the light and look through one of the entry points, I can see a little pinprick, so I need to deal with that. It is quite small, but I still need to deal with it. Better clean with the kitchen roll. Still needs a bit more scraping really. This particular machine that I'm working on was supplied to a foundry in Norfolk. It didn't really travel very far because I bought it from a person in Thetford, so it didn't really travel far from Norfolk. I'm not sure whether it was used at the foundry. I did read something online. I'm not sure if they actually sold them on. I can't remember now what I read, but it may not have been used in the foundry. Now it's a lot softer in there now. I don't know what's inside, whether it's a rubber tube or something, I've no idea, but I need to be a bit careful with it. Actually, I need to take these washers off, I think. That one I think is, that's rubber, and these are, I'm not sure what these are yet. If I'm not careful, and I know what they will be, they'll be broken. I don't know, maybe I should just leave those on there. Yeah, I don't think I really need to take those off, I'm going to leave those on. There's like some lettering on there, looks like 1, we can't see that, but 1 and a 10, and then a 136 I think. You get the worst of the rubbish off of this. Let's give it a little wire brush. I think that's got some kind of joint compound on it around the thread there. Give it another spray, I think. I think that will do. Let's see if that's any easier. Yeah, it's a bit better. I'm going to put some oil on that. That'll be fine. So we'll put that in there then. I've got some vinegar with some pickled onions in it. I'll try not to get the pickled onions in there. That's it. And I've no idea how much salt to put in there, but not too much of it, I thought. I suppose too much won't really harm it. That'll do. I reckon I put about a teaspoon in there. And I'm just going to leave it like that, probably overnight. So we'll have a look in the morning, see what has happened there. Hope it's still intact and not all disintegrated, but anyway, we'll see. What I'm going to do today is have a go at soldering a little hole I found in this fuel tank. The fuel tank has been repaired before. You can possibly see where someone has had a go at soldering it. Not particularly neat, but as long as it fills the holes, that's the main thing. It's on the bottom, so it's not really going to be noticeable. There's no holes anywhere else on the tank that I can see. But I noticed there was a little pinhole here which was visible only, I think, when I lifted the tank up and looked through the hole when it was against the light. I could see a little pinprick, and so I'm going to have a go at soldering this one. I've not soldered a tank before. I've done lots of pipe soldering, but not a tank, so should be similar, I reckon. First thing I'm going to do is give it a clean with some wire wool. I'm not sure if that's clean enough really. It's not like a piece of copper pipe that cleans up very easily with wire wool. We'll give that a go. Okay, so we'll put some flux on. Just a dab of flux. It's not a very good gun, this one. Yeah, it's very poor actually. It's the best I can get out of it, but you see that. That should be alright for what I want to do here. Should do it. So what I'm going to do is let that cool down, and then I'm going to get a file and file it flat. I don't know about these other ones that have been done before. It doesn't look brilliant, that one there. What I am going to do with this tank, I'm going to seal it. I think it's obviously very thin, developing these little pinholes, so I'm going to get some form of seal. I don't know what I'm going to get yet. Right, let's get a file. Just pick it first. Yeah, I think that looks good. I'm just going to have a look. You won't be able to see this, but I'm going to hold the tank up to the light. There is still a hole. So I haven't covered all of it, which is a bit annoying. Okay, so the hole, I think, is just that side. I'm going to do the same again then. Yeah, I can see the hole. Okay, so give it a clean. Bit of flux. Useless torch. Okay. Just spread that a little bit further. It's a bit thick, really. I've got too much on there, to be quite honest, but okay. So I'll just let that cool down a touch. Stop it from moving when I do that, and then have a look in the light. Yeah, that's got it that time. I can't see, I'm looking a bit further down the tank. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm looking a bit further down the tank. I can't see out of the holes, so I think, hopefully, that's got it. So I should just give this a bit of a file. It's more aesthetics than anything else. I need to be a bit careful because obviously this tank is not brilliant as it's got these little holes in it, so I have to be careful what I do filing wise. I think if I do any more, I'll definitely be a bit more sparing with the solder. It's not in the easiest of places to file either, and the file's not brilliant. What I'm looking for on the sealer that I'm going to use is something ideally that has a life. I don't want something that I buy, because I've got several tanks, probably 4 tanks to do. I want to try and buy something that I can use on this tank and then keep it for use when I'm ready on the other tanks. Some of it I've noticed you have to use it in one go, which is fine if you've got all your tanks ready, but I haven't. Yeah, it's not brilliant that, but there's a lump there as well. I don't know if that was mine or not. Tempted to leave it at that because, as I said, I've got these other repairs that someone else has done, which are quite big actually, some of them. Whether there's holes all over this place, I don't know, hope not. And it is underneath, so it's not really going to be seen, so I think a little bit more and that'll be it. I don't want to get too close to the metal and start going through the actual tank with the file. It'd be a disaster. Yeah, that's probably as thin as I'm going to go. I'll just check through the light. No, I can't see anything. That looks good. So, they're not brilliant repairs, those ones. I didn't do them. And my one is not brilliant, but as long as it works. So, as you see, I've already red oxided the rest of the tank. And now I've done that repair, I'm going to give that a red oxide and then give it a spray up. The other thing I did on another video is I put the fuel filter and the tap, the valve, in a solution of vinegar and salt, which someone told me online, and that has taken the tarnish off, and I think that filter's good. It's not torn, so I think that'll be good to go as well. So I'll give that a little bit of a polish up, and it did work. Yeah, it's free. When I blew through there the other day with the valve open, the air came through, closed it, and it did close off, so I'm quite pleased about that. Okay, so I think I'll end the video here. My next stage with the tank, as I say, will be to paint it and look for some sealer. I'll probably do a video on that, show you how I went about sealing the tank. I let the tap sit in the vinegar concentrate for a few days, and it's cleaned up quite well. It's taken all the rubbish off. The filter looks quite good now. The tap itself is a little stiff, but it is working. If I close it, I can't blow through, so I think that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do, let's put it back into the tank. And I'm going to use the washers, reuse those. They look good to me. If it doesn't work, then I'll change it. But so what I'm going to do in a minute, once I put this tap on, I don't know where that needs to align really, but anyway, it doesn't matter for this exercise. Once I put the tap on, what I'm going to do, it's not straight, but it's okay for now, because I'm going to treat the tank for rust. There is a little bit of rust in the tank. I'll try and show you. See, you can probably see that there. It's not too badly rusted. It's not too bad at all, but I thought I'm going to seal it, and in advance of the sealing I'll treat the rust. I was going to buy a proprietary rust removal or rust treatment, but I've seen on YouTube there's a lot of people saying just use vinegar, which you can see there, and so vinegar being the acid, and then after you've used the vinegar you neutralise the acid, and I'm going to use, or try and use, bicarbonate of soda. I measured the capacity of the tank and it's about 4 litres, so I think I've got enough vinegar there. What I'm going to do now then is, let's make sure that tap is turned off actually. I think that's the right way. I'm just going to blow through it. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to fill the tank, and then I'm going to leave it for probably until the weekend. So it's Tuesday now, I'll leave it until probably Sunday, and just see how it gets on. As I say, the tank, I'm looking at it now, is not really too bad. I suppose doing this, it might open up some more pinholes, although I have sprayed the tank, as you can see, with the primer, but maybe I should have done the treatment and then sprayed it. I don't know if it makes any difference. Okay, so let's just put one in to start with, just to make sure that tap's working okay. These were cheap, these are only 35p a bottle. I probably could have got a bigger bottle from somewhere, but Lidl, where I got these from, only did them in that size. Okay, I'm just touching the bottom of the tap and that feels dry, so we'll do another one. Yeah, that feels alright. I imagine if your tank is really rusty, then perhaps it is better to get a proper rust treatment rather than use this. We'll see how I get on with this. And I know some people put nuts and bolts or gravel or whatever inside and slosh it about. Again, I'm not going to do that, purely because, as I say, there isn't a lot of rust there. Oops, I'm running out of vinegar here. I don't think that's going to be enough, but got one to go. Now it's not quite going to be enough, that. I also didn't calculate properly, didn't I? That is near the top. I'll show you. I'll find my torch. I don't know if that'll show really, but I'm about maybe less than an inch from the top. So what I'm going to do, I don't think that if I add water to that is going to dilute the vinegar very much. So off camera in a minute I'm going to get some water and I'll just top that up until just the bottom of this, as this is, I guess this is brass, and then we'll leave it for a few days, as I say, till Sunday at least, and see how we get on. I've got my two fox friends with me today. Just had their lunch, and what I'm going to do is the next stage in the restoration of the fuel tank. I've had the vinegar in there for a lot longer than I originally planned. Originally I was going to have it in there for I think 5 days or 7 days, I can't remember what I said, and but I went on holiday for a couple of weeks and I've been very busy, so the vinegar's actually been in the tank for about a month, and so it's time it came out. I think it's worked. I had a little peek the other day and there was a rust flake near the top of the tank on the side, and I touched it with a screwdriver and it just literally fell off. So I'm hoping that the vinegar's done its job, and I'm going to seal the tank anyway, as I said before. But what I'm going to do now then is get the vinegar out, give the tank a flush, put some bicarbonate of soda in to try and neutralise the acid from the vinegar, give it a few more flushes I think, and then I'm going to dry it. It's a lovely sunny day today, so I'm going to put it out, the tank out in the sun. Hopefully that will dry quite quickly. I might get some flush rust, I know that, but the sealant that I'm going to use, it only needs flaky rust to be removed, so hopefully I won't have any of that, and if I do have any rust, it will just be the flash rust. So we'll see how we go. I'm going to save the vinegar. I've got another tank, and whether vinegar will be any good I don't know, but we'll save it and try and use it for the next tank. Not sure if that can's going to hold all of this. I don't think it will. We'll see in a minute. I think the last little bit, there's quite a bit more in there. Let's do a bit more in there. Right, I'm going to give this a good shake now. And we'll see what comes out. Oops, you can't see that, can you? Let's move that out of the way. It's a little bit brown, but not much. As I say, the tank wasn't too bad anyway, to be quite honest. There's quite a bit of sludge in the bottom, I can see. And there's some rust around the top, which again, when I'm touching it with my finger, it's pretty much just coming off. So I'm going to give it a flush now. See what comes out with that. Yeah, there is some muck on the sides. Let's see, that's, yeah, okay, you can see that. I've just wiped that off, so that's come out the bottom. I'll give it some more water. Sides are definitely cleaner, definitely. The bottom, I don't know, to be quite honest. I know you can't see that down there, but I don't know. But I don't think there's anything loose. Nothing loose is coming out. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I tell you what, I'm looking through there now into the sun and I can see some pinholes. So it's definitely opened up some pinholes. I'm going to have to solder that, I think. Yeah, I can see at least two. Anyway, just carry on flushing it for now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just shake it about, as you can see, empty this one out, and it's coming out clear now, and then I'm going to fill it, and I'm going to put the bicarbonate of soda. In fact, I'm going to put bicarbonate of soda in first, and then I will fill it and leave it for a little while. There we go. Right, I can see the water flowing out through those pinholes now. It may have been just as I was forcing it in with the hose, but we'll see. But I'm going to leave that for a little while, and then I will give it another flush a couple of times, I think, and then put it out in the sun to dry. So I don't think there's anything else really to be said on this part of the video. What I'm going to do next, as I say, is dry it, and I'll have to sort those pinholes out before I apply the sealer. So I'll have to have a look now to see where I've got leaks, fill those, and then do the sealer. I'm now ready for the next stage in the tank refurbishment process. I said in the previous section of the video that I needed to repair the pinholes that had appeared after I'd used the vinegar, and I was going to solder those as I had done before. But what I found was there were so many pinholes, I would do a little solder section and then that would create a pinhole on the edge. I'd do that and I'd get another one, another one, another one. So really there were too many pinholes to solder it. So as you can see, I've resorted to another method. I've used this, the Sealy Quick Set liquid metal. It certainly seems to have filled the pinholes. If I look through the filler, I can't see any pinholes, any light through the pinholes now. Whether that's E10 or E5 stable, I'm not sure, but I'm going to seal the inside of the tank anyway, so that in theory shouldn't make any difference, I guess. What I'm going to do, I'm going to seal two tanks, this one and this one here. This one is in much better condition than this one. I didn't have to do any soldering at all, but I'm going to seal it anyway, and I'm going to seal them one at a time because I don't know how quickly the sealant is going to go off when I start mixing it. So I obviously don't want to mix it all up and find I can only do one tank. The sealant I've got should do a 15 litre tank, so more than these, so that the stuff I've got will be more than capable of doing the two tanks. So what I bought was this Pet Seal Ultra, which I got off of eBay. I did buy it a while ago and I can't remember why I finally bought this one. I did look at lots of them on there, and I decided this is the one I wanted to use. So it's two part. You get this part and then you get the, I suppose you'd call it the activator, which comes in that little bottle there. And you don't get much of this, and it says in the instructions, which I'm going to show you in a minute, that don't be worried that you don't seem to have much of this. It obviously doesn't need a lot to make that go off. If you can see on there, I've got two pen marks. Now the top one is where the bottle was when it was full. Obviously it's not full, but that's what I had when I received it. It was up to that mark, and then I've poured it out halfway down there, so as I say I can do the two tanks independently. And I've also split the actual resin into this pot here and this pot here. So I said I'd show you the instructions. The reason I wanted to show them to you is they're very sort of old-fashioned really. It's a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy, as you can see, and I quite like that. So they do stress in the instructions about doing a test before you actually do the sealing for real, but to be quite honest, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it. Temperature has to be above 21 degrees. We're about thereabouts outside at the moment, but I'm going to bring the tanks inside and put them in the airing cupboard overnight. Having said that, this stuff does stink, so we'll see about that. I think if it's a little bit cooler, then it just takes longer for it to go off. So what you're supposed to do is seal the entry exit points of the tank. So you see I've done that there with a bit of polythene on the filler point, and then on the other end, the bottom, I've just got a piece of tissue in there covered up with tape, and what they say you have to do is remove both of those before the stuff's gone fully hard. So when it's tacky, you unscrew that and take that out, just obviously because you don't want it hardening around the threads. Okay, so what we'll do then, let's take that off. And the way I have to do it is pour it in, and then I put the cap on, turn it upside down, make sure the top is fully covered, turn it on its side, get that fully covered, turn it on its side again, and then turn it on its base, then turn it one final time on the top, and then turn it back onto its base. To be quite honest, it's only the base that really needs it, the rest of the tank is pretty good. Okay, so let's mix this stuff up then. So I've put, gosh, you really don't get much. I don't know if you can see that, it's a tiny amount. It doesn't look enough. But anyway, so that's supposed to be half of what was in that tin. Let's put that in there. I gave the tin a good shake before I did this. Sorry, before I poured it out. It really doesn't look as though it's enough. But anyway, we'll try it. Okay. Just clean my chisel off. It's quite sticky, this stuff, and it does smell. Here we go. Top on. Okay, so we'll slosh it around the base. Actually, I didn't talk about doing the ends, did I? I'll have to make sure I do the ends. Okay, turn it upside down, let's hope it doesn't leak. If you can see that on the camera. Not that there's much to see really. Okay, we'll do the ends. Let's do that side. It's really hard to know whether I'm covering it all or not. Let's do that side. But as I said, it was really the base that I'm mostly interested in. Okay, so I'm now supposed to turn it over again and do the top. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to have this in the house tonight. It is very smelly. Right, what I'm going to do is undo that cap and have a look. I don't know if you'll be able to see that with a torch. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that does look pretty good. Yeah, it does. I'm just going to swill it around so I can actually see what I'm doing with it. Yeah, I'm looking at the bottom now. That looks good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now then is I'm going to put this down. Unfortunately it doesn't tell me how long, just looking at the instructions now, it doesn't tell me how long it takes to go off. It says you should leave it for 7 days after you've done it, which is fine, but I don't know how long before I need to remove this. To be quite honest, I'm not too bothered about that. It's only a piece of kitchen roll, and I'm sure this resin won't go that hard anyway, so if I need to scrape that out when it's gone hard, I don't think it'd be too much of an issue. So I think I will probably end the video here, and then I'll do another one either when the thing's gone tacky and I'm taking this out, or maybe afterwards, and I can tell you what the results are. Yeah, I mean it's still very runny at the moment. It's still moving around, so it's nowhere near ready to go off at the moment. Okay, so I'll end the video here and then I'll update after something's happened. Here is my completed tank. As you can see, I've painted it. I did that today, and I'm quite happy with that. It's a little bit rough on top and even rougher on the bottom where it was filled, but it's good enough. It's an old tank anyway, so I didn't expect it to be perfect, but that will do for me. The last part of the video, I'd put the sealant in and I was waiting for it to go off, and I was expecting, I think it said in the instructions, 1 hour or 2 hours, I can't remember now. So I left it for a good 1.5 to 2 hours, and the remains of the sealer that I had in the pot where I'd mixed it did seem to have, I wouldn't say it was hard, it wasn't hard, but it was definitely a lot more rigid. It was definitely going off, so I assumed everything in the tanks was the same, it was going off. And in the instructions it says to remove any bungs that you have. So if you remember, I had a piece of tissue paper or whatever in there, so I removed that and put the tank back down, and a load of the liquid came out, so it hadn't gone off sufficiently. And the mistake I made then was not cleaning that thread after the sealant had run through it, because of course the sealant then it's set. So I put the bung back in, but the sealant obviously set. So what I had to do before I could get this tap screwed back in was obviously clean this out. And the way I did that, the best way I found, was to get a soldering iron, and I just ran it around the thread, which burnt the sealant. The sealant gets really hard. I'll show you a piece in a minute, but to clean, as I say, I ran soldering iron round the thread and then just used a screwdriver carefully to prise it out. It did take a long while. I would definitely be more careful next time if I do any more tanks, or when I do any more tanks. Definitely make sure. I suppose if I'd had time during the day, the problem was that I did the mixing in the evening, I think it was, and it was getting late in the day. So if I'd done it in the morning, for instance, I could have kept an eye on what was going on when it was going off a bit better throughout the day, and then taken the bung out accordingly. But anyway, it's a lesson learned really, just have to be careful. So what I did when I put the bung back in, because I knew there was still liquid in there, this part here, I'm not sure how well that shows up on the camera, but that's where the big area that was filled is. So I made sure that I put the tank so that the sealant was running down there, so that would be the main area where anything free was going to collect and would seal. So that's what I did there. So I was going to say about the actual sealant itself. On the other tank, I won't show you that one because there's nothing really to show on that. But what I did do when I'll use this one as a demo. When I took the bung out on there, there was a big collection of sealant built up in there, and that hole, I could see through the hole, and it was like a piece of glass. In fact, I got it in my hand here now to show you. So this is what the sealant actually looks like when it's hard. It is really, really hard. It is just like a piece of glass. It's really, really hard, really tough. So I'm quite pleased with it. The only thing I would say is there is no way you can bring the sealant, or a tank that's got sealant in it, into the house while it's curing. It is really, really smelly, so there is no way you're going to be able to do it. The only way I suppose you might be able to do it is to put it into a plastic box which with a sealable lid. Perhaps you could do that. Maybe that would keep the fumes out, but maybe that sealant needs fresh supply of oxygen to go off. I don't know. So you're supposed to only use it when the temperature is 21 degrees or above, which obviously in the UK can be a bit of an issue. This is summer now, so, and we're going through a bit of a heat wave. It wasn't really a problem, but you couldn't really do this, I would say, in the winter unless you brought it inside, and you can't bring it inside because it's very smelly. So that is definitely something to be aware of if you're going to use that product. Maybe they're all the same, I don't know, Pet Seal. Then it needs to be ideally done in the summer, I would say, and definitely done outside. So to summarize then, so the tank is pretty much done now. I'm quite pleased with the use of the vinegar. That definitely seemed to clean the tank. As I said previously, it opened up some pinholes, so it did something to the rust that was in the tank. I haven't used a proprietary rust remover, so I can't compare vinegar and proprietary product, but I think it worked quite well. This wasn't severely scaled inside, it wasn't flaky, but I do think the vinegar did quite a good job. And the Pet Seal, time will tell, of course. I don't know how it's going to survive with modern petrol. It's supposed to be E10 safe, so we'll see, but certainly from what I've seen it looks to be very good. It's very easy to use, and as I showed you, this piece here, like a piece of glass, it's really, really hard. So apart from the fact, as I say, the fumes, and definitely make sure that you clean out any threads if any gets on the threads. That's all I would say with that. So I think we'll end the video here now. That's about it for the fuel tank, and I'll have to decide now where we go next, what we do next. That will be the subject of another video.